Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. This tutorial video is going to be a long one because it is divided into three. The first part of the video is where we are going to be explaining how to sew an uneven hem bodice, and I'm also going to be explaining how to neatly sew a sweetheart neckline with an illusion net, and I'm also going to be explaining how to make the upper part of this blouse in this picture. If you are interested in this video, watch this video to the end, like this video, share with your friends, and subscribe to my channel so you can enjoy more videos like this. But first, let me start by introducing myself. Hi, my name is Lillian of Lillian Fashion Lounge, and I talk about everything fashion, pattern drafting, online and physical tutoring, and many more. And if you are new to my channel, welcome to my channel. And if you are not a subscriber, thank you for tuning in. So let's get this video rolling. So these are the materials that I'm going to be using for this tutorial. I'm going to be using my Mikado, my Mikado material, the shiny one. Then I'm also going to be using my lining. Of course, is a cotton lining, which is what I usually use for most of my tutorials. Then I'll be using my nude net, which is a stretchy one. Then my Ankara, which is the base of the fabric. So we are going to start with placing our patterns on the Ankara fabric. Then I'll be adding my sewing allowance, which is 1/2 inch. But for the side, I'm going to be using 1.5 inch for this particular tutorial. So for the sweetheart neckline, I'm going to be using 1/2 inch for the upper part, 1/2 inch for the dart side, the bust side and the dart side, and I'll be using 1.5 inches, just like I said, for the side, the main side, and 1/2 inch for the armhole. Then for the center back, I'll also be using 1.5 inches too. And the next thing that we're going to be doing is to place the upper part, which is going to be the illusion net. I'll be placing it on my net. Now, while placing it, I'm going to be making it 2. So which is 2 for the front and 2 for the back. One will serve as the main facing, and one will serve as the lining. Cutting the sewing allowance, if you notice, I did not cut up to 1/2 inch, and that is because the fabric is a very good fabric and it's a very stretchy fabric. So if I'm adding 1/2 inch, it would not make it balanced. It will not make it lay on my body the way I would want it to lay. So that is the reason why I'm not using up to 1/2 inch. I'm using 1/4 of the sewing allowance. So I'm going to be doing the same thing for the back, for the neckline for the back, and also the armhole. But for the center back, I'll be using 1 inch, and the reason is because it is a zipper allowance. So there is no way around it. We have to use 1 inch for the zipper allowance. So I'm going to go ahead, after cutting the illusion net, I'm going to go ahead and cut the lower part of the uneven hem using my Mikado. So I'll be folding my fabric into 4, as you can see me do here. Then I'm going to be placing the pattern on the fabric, then I'll pin it down. After pinning, I'll be adding my sewing allowance, which is 1/2 inch on the lower part and on the upper part of the pattern. Then for the center back, I'm going to be adding 1 inch for the zipper allowance. For the center front, as you can see, the fabric was folded into 4, so I just placed the center front at the tip of the folded part of the Mikado fabric. So I'm going to go ahead and cut the fabric, the Mikado fabric. I'm going to go ahead and cut it. Then after cutting, I'm going to be placing the Ankara fabric on the lining fabric to cut out my lining. So off camera, I've gone ahead to place my foam, my breast foam on the bust part of the Ankara fabric, and I first use my essay before using the foam. If you are interested in knowing more on how to place your foam and make it stand like this without falling, let me know in the comment section, and I promise I'm going to do that. So after placing my foam, I went ahead to use my pin to hold back the fabrics together and sew the front using my 1/2 inch seam allowance. If you remember, while we were drafting the pattern, there was a place where I marked to indicate where the sewing is going to stop, to know where the uneven hem is going to start. So I'll be doing the same thing for the fabric. While cutting, I forgot to record that I went ahead to notch where the sewing is going to stop. So I'll be doing the same thing here because I've gone ahead to use my essay. So the essay was not showing it as it's supposed to be. So I had to notch it again to be able to identify it. So after sewing, I went ahead to do the same thing for my lining. I sewed the lining. As you can see, the bust part, it is very, very firm and steady. So if your bust does not come out that way, then there's something you are doing wrong. So I'm going to go ahead and sew the back also. So this is the result after sewing and ironing. This is very important for any person that is trying to sew. If you want to sew your dress, make sure you're ironing while you're sewing. Especially every seam, you make sure you iron. It's going to give you a more neat effect. So I'm going to be taking my illusion net to my machine and I'm going to be sewing them together. Don't forget that we cut 4 of each side of the fabric, 4 for the front and 4 for each side of each side for the back. So I'm going to be taking it and I'm going to go ahead and sew the neckline. So I'll be placing the illusion net for the back to the Ankara fabric first. I'll be placing it first to the Ankara fabric. So I'm going to be placing the illusion neckline for the front also. Now, but the front is going to be a little bit complex, and the reason is because it is a sweetheart neckline. So I'm going to be placing one side first. But before I place one side, you're going to first of all notch the pointy part of the net and also the pointy part of the Ankara. Now this is going to give it more, it's going to make it more relaxed while sewing, so it will be easier to sew. So I'm going to take it to my sewing machine and sew it on 1/4. After sewing one side, you're going to also do the same thing for the other side. But as you can see here, I'm notching it here to make it more relaxed. So I'm going to go ahead and pin the other side of the illusion net to the other side of the sweetheart neckline and also sew on 1/4. This is the result you should be getting for this sweetheart neckline after sewing the illusion neckline. So the next thing I'm going to be doing is to add my lining. So I'm going to be folding the illusion neckline inwards, and I'll be using pin to hold it down. Then I'm going to place the lining on the sweetheart neckline to pin it down also. Don't forget to notch the middle of your sweetheart neckline to make it also relaxed. So after pinning, I will take it to my sewing machine. This time around, I'm going to be adding hemming gum to gum the lining and the fabric together to give it that neat finishing. So after sewing on 1/2 inch, you're going to cut out the excess on the curvy part of the sweetheart neckline, and this is to make it more relaxed. So after sewing, this is how it should look. It should be this neat. So I'm going to take it to my iron table now, and I'm going to be ironing it. So after ironing, this is how it should look. So what I'm going to be doing next is to sew both sides of the front, which is sewing on 1/2 inch. So this is how it is going to be looking. So I'm going to move to the back of the Ankara. Now I'm going to be just like I did for the front. I'm just going to place the illusion net first, then I will place the lining, and sew the sides also. For the side, I'm going to be using 1 inch based on whatever I added for the sewing allowance, and what I added was 1.5 inch. So I'm going to be using 1 inch for each side. I'm also going to be sewing 1/2 inch for the net area, the illusion net area. I'm going to be using 1/2 inch for the shoulder. So I'm going to go ahead and start with the uneven hem side of this blouse. So I've gone ahead to add my interfacing, which is estee, and I've also gone ahead to sew the lower part of the hem, which is 1/2 inch, and I've gone ahead to iron it. So I'm going to be placing it to the hem of the main Ankara fabric. Well, before I do that, I'm going to go ahead and fold the upper part of the hem on 1/2 inch. Then I'm going to take it to my ironing table and iron it. After ironing, I'll now place the hem, the mercado fabric. I will place it on the Ankara fabric with the folded 1/2 inch sewing allowance. Then I'm going to be pinning it down to make it stable. So we are going to move to the upper design of this blouse. Now to get this, we are going to be needing our pattern paper and pencil. So I'm going to be drawing out a random oval shape and also a random circle shape. Drawing my round shape, I'm going to go ahead and measure 1.5 inch round the circle shape I drew. I will connect it with my pencil. For the oval shape, I'm also going to be doing the same thing. I'll measure 1.5 inch round the shape, then I will connect them with my pencil also. I'm going to be placing it on, I'm going to be cutting it out, then I'm going to be placing it on my Ankara fabric. So I'm going to be cutting 3 of each of this, adding my sewing allowance. So I'm going to be placing the Ankara fabric on my lining. Now you can decide to use lining for both the main fabric and the lining, but I wanted to use the lining. So I'm going to be placing each fabric on each lining, then I'll take it to my sewing machine and I'm going to be sewing them on 1/2 inch. You can decide to use stay for this, but I decided not to. So after sewing your design, you can now go ahead and start placing them on the illusion net of this blouse. Now for me, this is the method I'm going to be using to place it. You can decide to use the method that is more suitable to you. this is where we are going to be ending this tutorial. If you have any questions for me, please leave it down in the comment section. I'm going to make sure to reply your messages. Thank you guys for watching. See you guys in the next one. Bye.